The problem that we're faced is we're just faced with this, a huge mess, columns and rows of data, and it's just a chaos, right? So whenever we have a conversation with a customer, we're dropped into chaos. So one thing that we started to do over the past 3-4 weeks, like it's something that's relatively new, but it's serving us super, super well at this point, is we've built a framework to help us really deconstruct ad accounts and find relatively quickly how we can actually attack the problems and how we can improve overall profitability, right? So everybody who works with me, they know that I love building houses. So I'm gonna build a house today as well. And in the end of the day, what we build is just a framework to read data, read information, and turn these information into actionable insights. Connect them to a story so we can execute. And so in the end, what customers want is just straight up better performances, right? Please help me increase the performances. Please help me impact my bottom line. And then when we think about it, what we're trying to do is, number one, let's try to understand how do you define success? How do you define good performances, right? And for many of these customers, it's ROAS, it's cost per lead, it's cost per purchase, right? And then what we do is we deconstruct what are the different, it's like a slot machine, right? And if you hit 777, you get a huge jackpot. So we just try to understand, okay, what are the different spinning plates that we have to optimize to then hit the jackpot, to then impact the profitability well, right? And in the end of the day, when we think about it, what we came up with is that we deconstructed by cost, quality, and engagement. So if we want to impact and improve performances, would dropping the cost of advertising help us? Probably, right? Can we drive more engagement, more clicks, more reactions, more traffic from our ads? Would hugely impact us positively as well, right? And then last but not least, just the quality of traffic. So can I get higher quality guys and girls on my webshop to then actually take action, right? So we just installed these 3 different pillars of success to then optimize accounts, right? And what we did is we installed what we call Champion KPIs. So we have certain KPIs, certain numbers that help us then understand, okay, how are we performing in these different pillars, right? And to us, for example, in cost, it's the CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. How much do I have to pay to actually get in front of eyeballs, right? Then to understand how we're performing on the quality pillar, we try to understand, okay, what's the visitors to ads to carts ratios? What's the average order value? What is the conversion rates, right? So those are our Champion KPIs to really help us understand how we perform in this pillar. And last but not least, we have the actual engagement. So click-through rates, the percentage of people engaging with the ads. We have the outbound, which is people who then click onto the website. What we do at Magic, so one thing that we do in the dashboard, we try to visualize the data quite easily. So we, on a call, within seconds, we can go ahead and we can understand, okay, what's changing in the account, right? And it's a bit hard to tell because I couldn't zoom in and zoom out. In the platform, you can do it. But the greenish line is the ROAS performances. And you see in February the 20th, it just completely started to drop all the way down, right? And you can see how the blue line, the CPM, drastically increased at that same time. I always call it the scissor opening up, right? So CPMs are increasing. And in this case, ROAS performances are decreasing, and there's a bit of a correlation. So it seems to be that CPM is causing pressure and puts pressure on the actual ROAS, right? The CTR, on the other hand, which is the grayish line, the actual clicks on the ad, didn't change much, right? So that's kind of stable. So we know, okay, we have to deal with a cost issue, right? Now, something that we see super often, and to everybody who's touching ad accounts, I think this is a super interesting piece of information. We love to analyze in the content pillar CTR versus outbound CTR, right? So CTR is just every click on the ad, when they pause the scrolling and they click on the ad, they click on the comment section, they check the ad copy and expand that, right? That's just all ranked into the CTR. The outbound CTR is only clicks that lead onto the website. Right, so they actually take action, they actually go to the website. And one thing that we see super often, and it's a bit of a low-hanging fruit because it's easy to attack, is a huge delta, a huge gap between the CTR and the outbound CTR. So in this case, we have 2.7 people who engage, who click on the ad, who have some, who just have attention. But then we only get 106 to actually click onto the website. So we're good at getting the attention, but they don't take action. So what do we need to attack? The call to action messaging, right? And what we end up doing is we have a framework that we call AAA, Acknowledge, Adjust, Attack. So what we try to do first is we have to acknowledge and understand the problem that we're facing in the ad account, right? understanding the problem is halfway towards actually going ahead and solving it. And then we have the adjust and attack. So there's a way you can adjust to the new reality, right? And you can find ways. And then there's ways to just go ahead and just straight up attack it, right? And some of the best practices that we have, for example, for attacking, and I hope you start to get like a feeling for it, because what we now can do is we can start actually connecting certain action items. It's a playbook. That's what it is. When you're in an agency and you try to close new deals, this is a framework you can use, quality, engagement, cost, connected to okay, here are action items that we can complete to attack the problem or adjust to the problem. You can go ahead and you can get access to ad accounts of potential clients and just analyze the data. And then go ahead and build a pitch to sell them. If you're in a meeting, you can go ahead and you can give suggestions on how to actually attack the account and improve it. So yeah, it's like really a framework to think, and it's a superpower. It's a super strong weapon to deconstruct accounts. Huh? Now, some of the things we can do to attack, in this case, for example, the outbound click issues, is we have, for example, a tool that's it's creative insights, right? So what we do is we just map all your content on in this case, a ROS to revenue metric. And we can then just go ahead and analyze, okay, what are some of the ads that are very profitable in the bottom line, but also drive tremendous outbound CTR, for example, right? And then we can just learn. It's a way of reverse engineering, right? So what worked well for us in the past to attack that problem, and then we can just learn. One thing that we found is that, for example, dedicating the last 3-5 seconds of a video ad and just have a straight up call to action, right? Like we're all on Instagram, we're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then we put the phone away after 30 minutes and we don't even remember what we were looking at, right? And that's just a constant dopamine high. And the problem is that 3 pieces of the content that you're looking at were my ads that I spend good money on, right? Which is a huge issue. So I have to find ways to disrupt the pattern and get them out of this dopamine high, and dedicating the last 3, 4, 5 seconds to just have a straight up call to action, no more crazy motion graphics. That's something we found positively impacts the outbound CTR. That's like one way of attacking it. Or another way is just expanding the real estate, right? If you have a call to action issue, bunch of people click on the ad, only few actually click on the link and take action. If you have a call to action issue, one way of attacking is to expand the real estate that you're leveraging for call to action messagings, right? So one thing that we do, for example, in the ad copy, the actual text on top of the creative, we inject a call to action and we have a link to the website, right? And that's something we've seen massively positively impacts the outbound CTR, because you could say like this, like the creative gets the attention, the ad copy drives the click and the conversion, because that's where you can deliver further context and co. So if you do a good job at writing good copy, you want to have a call to action right then, right there to get them to execute, right? And that's something we've seen does super well, right? So in this case, we can actually see 70% of the spend goes into ad copy with links, and 25% of the revenue is generated there. So it's a much better distribution than we have on without. So in this case, you could clearly say, okay, it's just overspending on ad copy without a link, and it's underspending of ad copy with a link. So and this is all real ad accounts. Another thing, and that also goes into just expanding the real estate, is a tool that we call Ad Care. And what we do is we write a comment and we post it with your page and we pin it to the top of every comment section. And again, it's additional real estate. Like nowadays, people are more suspicious than ever before. They don't trust politicians, they don't trust nonprofits, and they especially don't trust the advertiser on Facebook, right? So they're going to go into the comment section to see what other people have to say about you and your brand. And if it's good, you want to have a call to action right then, right there. And that's something we make happen with this tool. So just have visit our website. And this is something, regardless of metrics or not, like you can just start implement, like, you can start executing on these things. And just use this as additional real estate to outbound click. So something you can also do is you can just bit.ly it, put a UTM tag on it, and then you can even measure like how much clicks is actually driving. Yeah? Those are like just some of the things. So in the end, the punchline is just that, like nowadays, obviously iOS 14 shake the situation up a little bit, but getting access to data is not really the big problem anymore. What's the big problem? And that is where many of the great companies are currently building themselves up, is actioning that data, is executing on that data.